with Heart to me means, for me especially, means it's a way of life. It's the way you live your life, the way you come at situations, the way you deal with other people. And if you have that heart, then you will act out of that in the way you see the world, the way you help people, and the way you look at situations. I'm going to go back to my childhood. And at the time, I didn't think it was philanthropic. I really thought it was something that you do, because if someone needs something and they don't have it, you go out and you find a way to get it to them. And I remember as a young child, I was probably about 6 years old, and it's still very vivid to me. In my class, there was a young man who always came to school with rundown sneakers, and kids always teased him. And I became his friend and his champion, because I thought, now we call it bullying. I didn't know that's what you called it back then, but I knew it was wrong. And so I got a group of my little friends together, and we created a lemonade stand. And the lemonade stand, and it was terrible lemonade, but people bought it because our cause was to buy some sneakers so this young boy could have some sneakers. And we raised enough money, and I think the parents knew what we were doing, so they paid $2, $3, and $4 for this nasty lemonade. But that wasn't the point. The point was he came to school with this smile on his face because he had sneakers, and kids could no longer laugh at him. I think that was the beginning of my understanding about what it means to help others and to give and pay it forward. I guess I would go with John Garner, who was the guru as it relates to leadership. But to me, it was bigger than the leadership. It was being able to sit at the feet of someone to learn what does it mean to really go into the world and say your piece, but be good at what you think you're good at, and yet doing it with humility. And I would say that he taught me that. He taught me about leadership. He taught me about giving back. And I never will forget, he taped something for me that's not even published. And I have that tape, and when I'm feeling down and not worthy of things that I think I should be worthy of, or I'm not doing enough, I pull that tape out and I play it. And it makes me feel better about myself and about life, and I get up and I'm at it again. As I got older and began to take on international work, which I did 75% of my life was outside of the country, there was a woman I met, and I met her right after the slaughter of all of the men in Rwanda. And she decided that since there were no more men in this village, someone had to step forward and provide the livelihood for all of the children and the women that were left behind. I admired her because she didn't have much herself, but she saw that someone had to take charge. She took charge, and she created the first women entrepreneurial program there. And today, that program has expanded to where they are now producing products and shipping them all over the world. But she started with nothing but a belief that someone had to make a livelihood for the children that were left behind and the women. I would have to say no one individual. I think there are bits and pieces in different people that I find interesting and that I like, and I take it as a part of my life. I think Maya Angelou was one of those people. I would say my mother especially was one of those people. My father was just an incredible man who taught me so much about what I am today. And I think the list, my sisters, my daughter, who's my greatest teacher today, who tells me things that I thought I had taught to her, and now she's helping me think through a lot of things. So I would say my daughter probably is my greatest one that I admire of all of them. One thing that my friends might not know about me is that, and I don't think this is important, but it might have an impact on younger women when they're thinking about their career. And it's, I had the incredible opportunity to be the first woman to have the kind of experience that I have had in doing philanthropy internationally, and in 33 different countries. And the first thing I thought about when I stepped off of that plane was, whoa, I speak one language, English. And to communicate with people and make them feel that their lives matter, I need to be able to learn languages to be able to do that. So I did. I learned 5 different languages because I felt it was important that I was able to speak to them, understand them, and I did not want an interpreter. I wanted to be able to do that. So I did that. I learned the languages, and I feel good about it. I don't use them as much today because I don't have people to use it with, but it was a great experience for me. I speak Tagalog, Cebuano, I speak Chinese, I speak French, I speak Spanish and Portuguese. They might say that she's driven, she's a perfectionist, but she has a heart and she cares. So I hope that what I'm saying is what they would say. Unfinished. Because there's still so much that I want to know, I want to understand, I want to be a part of, I want to make a difference. And in a world that is so conflictual the way it is now, you can't be finished until you have an impact on saying, I'm in there, I want to make a difference because it's important to this generation, the past generation, and the generation to come. My guilty pleasure is telling my sisters I'm really on this diet and I'm losing this weight. And next to me sits Bluebell ice cream on the left and popcorn on the right, and I'm just enjoying it and laughing as I do it. I think when you talk about people being well and doing well, you can't do that if you don't have great health. And not everyone is fortunate enough to be able to, for whatever the reasons are, to have the great insurances that we have today, although they are available to people. But there's still people who are underinsured, and families that cannot afford the great health care that they need. And what they do, they tend to flood the ERs for their services, and therefore the costs in the hospitals go up and so forth. Volunteers in medicine allows these families the ability to have great health. And what's so neat about it, they're helping the people, but what really has me turned on about them is the number of volunteers. 1.5 million volunteer hours. 40% of the volunteers have been there over 5 years, which means to me that they are doing something right. And when you look at the people that come in and get the service and how they care for them, people feel that they're getting the kind of treatment. If they had a Cadillac doctor who charged them $100 or $200 a visit, they can go to VIM and they can get that same service, same quality of service for some of the top-notch healthcare professionals in Northeast Florida. So I do think that they're making a difference. Their location in itself says that we're here to help you and to help you get better and to help you have better health.